Hi everyone and welcome back. Mindy here with you today. And in today's video, I am going to be showing you how I created this card using supplies from Gina K Designs and Thermoweb. This is going to be using the stamp set, stencil, and coordinating die, and also taking a look at the new Glitz Glitter Gel. This stuff is amazing, so I cannot wait to share it with you. This is the stamp set I'll be using. It is called Crazy Daisy, and as you can see, it has some of these silhouette images of the flowers and also some centerpieces that you can stamp in the middle of those. There's also a couple of great sentiments on here and a big floral design that I'm excited to use in a future video. So the first thing I want to do is stamp out some flowers. I'm going to stamp them quite a few times because I wanted to have a cluster of flowers on my card. So I'm using the Gina K Designs white cardstock and my Misty tool. I lined up this daisy shaped image into the corner there, and I'm going to start with my first color, which is Wild Dandelion. This is from Gina K Designs. All of the inks I'll be using are Gina's inks because I'm in love with them. So I'm just inking up my daisy image. I'll stamp that down, and then if I didn't get enough coverage on there, I'm just going to go in and stamp it again. That'll give me a great coverage throughout my flower, nice and bright yellow, perfect for springtime. Then I'm going to go ahead and just clean that stamp off, and I'm going to come in with my second color, which is Bubblegum Pink. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to ink that up really well, stamp that down, and I'll have great coverage here. And then I'm also going to come in with sea glass ink. So I have my yellow, pink, and blue, which is just a really great spring combination of colors. So just go ahead, stamp that down, give that a really good push, and then I can come in and stamp it again. This is one of the beauties of using a Misty tool and why I almost always use a Misty, because I do like to stamp a lot of images twice because it does brighten that up a little bit. Next, I'm going to stamp some leaves, which is also off of the Crazy Daisy stamp set. I'm going to be using Key Lime and Grass Green. I'm stamping quite a few of these, so I can add this around my cluster of flowers. And I'll do this a few times throughout my sheet, whatever I have room for, and I think I actually stamped a few extra ones off screen so I could really kind of fill in. It's a great filler piece. There is also a coordinating die set that you can purchase separately with this stamp set. I love to have coordinating dies with my stamps because I'm not a big fussy cutter. And one of the great things that you'll see here in a little bit is that with Gina's dies, you do not have to cut them apart. They already come cut apart, ready to take in and die cut your images out. So that's one of the reasons I absolutely love Gina's dies, is they come ready to go. So I'm just finishing up, getting a few leaves stamped on there. This is the grass green. And I just wanted to show you this quick with the stamp set. Now that I have my solid image there, you could stamp on top of these for those centerpieces. So that is an option. You could just use the stamp set for this. But what I want to do is use the Glitz Glitter Gel. So the first thing I'm starting off by doing is die cutting. So you can see here, this is part of the coordinating die. There are no sharp edges because I didn't have to do any cutting. And I'm using the new Thermoweb tape. This is the skinny one. I'll have it linked down below in the video. I am loving this new skinnier Thermoweb purple tape. It has not ripped my paper. I've been using it since the day I got it, so a week or two ago, and I am loving it. It has a great tack to it, so it's holding my die cuts nicely on my cardstock. But when I'm taking it out of my machine and off my plates, it has not ripped my paper. So I'm very, very happy with this purple tape. So I'm just going to hold those down. I'm flipping this sheet over because I'm going to run it through my Gemini Junior. And then once I have those die cut out, you can see I'm going to remove this purple tape, and it's perfect on both sides that it was holding. I have no rips, tears, anything. And then once I have these removed, you can see it has this beautiful white edge to it, which I just love how they die cut. I'm going to go through and do this for the rest of them. So I have 2 more flowers to die cut out, and then the rest of the leaves, which I will do all of that off camera to save a little bit of time. And I want to save this sheet that I'm die cutting everything out of. Mainly the flower portion is what I want to save. So when you're done die cutting, don't throw that away. This is the trick that I had found was easiest for me when using the stencils. So I have all of my images cut out. And now to work on the Glitz Glitter Gel, I am using this frame that I had die cut everything out of, taking one of my flowers, popping that in there, and I'm holding it with that purple tape from the back. This just secures it in place so that it doesn't move around when I'm applying the stencil and the Glitz Glitter Gel. The reason I'm doing it this way, I die cut first, is because then my images are ready and I just have to wait for the Glitz Glitter Gel to dry. I didn't want to apply the gel, wait for it to dry, and then run it through my die cut machine. I was also worried that my machine would flatten the gel. So this was what I found was the easiest. So I'm taking one of these centerpieces on the stencil. This is also the Crazy Daisy stencil. And when I lined it up, I mainly am lining up my stencil with the center of my stamped image. I'm not too worried about the little petals on the outside. I'm mainly looking at the inside portion. And I'm using the new Glitz Glitter Gel White, which is absolutely stunning. Totally loving this. And this gel is just amazing. What totally throws me is that every time I open it, it doesn't even look like I touched it. Like the gel kind of settles and it just forms a nice flat layer on the top, and it just doesn't look like I touched it, which it just looks really cool. It amazes me every time. So I just smoothed that over my stenciled area, scraped off the excess, and put it back into the jar. And then I'm using a baby wipe to clean off my little spatula there. And baby wipes you can get pretty cheap. You don't need any kind of fancy ones. I love using the baby wipes to clean up my messes. So once that, I just remove the stencil, taking off that tape in case I have any of that glitter gel on there. And now I'm taking that baby wipe and I'm just wiping off the stencil. Gina's stencils are a really nice quality stencil. They're pretty thick. And there isn't a lot of like loose pieces in there where my baby wipe would catch on it. So I'm just wiping that off with the baby wipe. And then I'm just going to take a rag and kind of dab that up so I'm not leaving any wet spots on there when I go to do this again. Once that's done, I'm going to just carefully remove this. And you can leave that purple tape on there or take it off, but I'm just going to set it off on the side to dry for a little while. I would say probably maybe a half hour is good as far as dry time. Maybe a little bit longer. I think it kind of depends where you live and your humidity, things like that. But I'd say a good maybe half hour, maybe 45 minutes tops. I didn't really quite time it. So now I'm working on the blue one. I did the same thing. I'm lining up that center of the stencil with the center of my stamped image and just holding that stencil down onto my cardstock with that purple tape. I don't usually attach my cardstock to the table because then I can move this around. So this is the Turquoise Sea Glitz Glitter Gel, and you can see I was moving it around a little bit because I was just totally amazed that it had flattened. It didn't even look like I had touched it. So same thing, I just took a little bit out of the jar and applied that to the stencil. You don't need a lot. A little really does go a long way. And then I scraped off the excess and put that back into the jar, cleaning off my spatula. And then I can carefully remove my stencil. I'm holding down my cardstock as I'm pulling that stencil up, so that way nothing kind of bounces back on top of it and ruins this. And then just wiping that up a little bit. In my pictures, if you look really close, it kind of looks a little, I don't want to say smashed, but I had smudged my blue a little bit. It hadn't been quite dry, completely forgot, and I kind of bumped it. But I guess honestly, if you weren't looking for it, you probably never would have been able to tell. But I can tell, so I kind of giggle when I see it. Now I'm moving on to the pink, and I'm doing the same thing, lining up that centerpiece, holding it in place, and this time I'm using the Bubblegum Pink. I love doing tone on tone, but you could certainly add white to the middle on all of them, or you could add pink to the blue or purple. There are lots of different color choices in the Glitz Glitter Gel, so definitely be sure to head over and check those out. So here I'm just removing that, and I'm going to set that off on the side to dry as well. For my card base, this is actually part of the Wreath Builder stencil template. I'm just using this circle part, and I'm holding it down onto my white cardstock with some of that purple tape. Centered it as best as I could. Now you could mask off the edges if you're worried about your ink getting on the outside of that. I have these small life-changing blender brushes, so I wasn't too concerned if I got on the outside. I was pretty confident I'd be able to stay inside my circle. And I'm starting off with key lime. I'm going to add a light layer all the way around. So I'll cover the entire circle with this key lime. Just going in some small circular motions. This is really easy to apply. It's a really great ink to ink blend with, and also the brushes really help make this a soft ink blended look. Next, I'll come in with Sea Glass, and I'm just going to apply this mainly to the one corner, kind of stretch it up a little bit to blend it out and try and have a seamless blend with it. I do sometimes kind of wipe off my brush off on my rag just so I don't transfer too much of my ink over onto sea glass. I really wanted to pull that sea glass color out. So I'll wipe off every now and then, just kind of clean up that ink. And it wasn't quite dark enough for me on that left-hand side of the circle. So I am actually going to bring in Tranquil Teal. So it's a little bit darker of an ink, kind of pulling that in from one side up towards the right hand side, getting lighter as I get towards that right hand side. I do go over the key lime a little bit just so it wasn't so bright, but I'm doing that with a really light touch. And then just cleaning off my brushes on a rag and then onto some scratch paper, making sure they're clean for the next time I use them. I'll go ahead and remove that purple tape, and I have this perfect circle on my card base that I can put my flowers around. I did have a little bit of ink sneak past me, so I'm just using a sand eraser to kind of erase that away. And now I need to add my sentiment before I get my flowers on here. This is off of the Crazy Daisy stamp set. It says, "May your birthday bloom with joy." I'm always in need of birthday cards, and I don't know, I don't make them that often, so I love this sentiment set. This was perfect. And I'm just going to use the Gina K Designs Amalgam ink to stamp that. This ink is great because it's not going to bleed. Once I stamp it, it's going to have all of that beautiful font on there. Nothing is going to bleed out. Now I did go ahead off screen and arrange my card the way I wanted it. Start getting some of that down. I applied the leaves kind of in an every other color order around my circle, and then I started attaching the flowers. The pink one I do have attached with some foam squares, and that is also how I'm going to align my yellow flower as well. I'm going to put a couple down on the bottom there to pop that up. And I do have this attached to a piece of cardstock from Gina. This is the Whisper cardstock. It was just a really nice accent color to go with my white panel that I had trimmed it down to 4 by 5 1/4. And then my actual card base, the Whisper cardstock, is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So Whisper is just one of my favorite right now out of the new Gina K Designs cardstock line. So definitely head over and check that out. And like I said, there are a lot of colors of the Glitz Glitter Gel that are available. There is black, bubblegum pink, gold, grass green, red velvet, sweet mango, turquoise sea, white, and lilac. And I will have another video for you very soon showing you some more designs with the Glitz Glitter Gel. So I'm having a lot of fun with that, so be sure to check back. I hope you enjoyed today's video, taking a look at that new Glitz Glitter Gel. Thank you so much for joining me. If you did enjoy the video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. And then make sure to click the little bell so that you're notified when new videos are posted. So thanks again for stopping by, and I'll catch you next time.